psychedelic carpet, the same as yesterday. I sink to the bar, forget what to order, while the Friday night dehydrated potted plants wait with sucked teeth. And I want nothing more than to eat all the crisps, or marinate in a warm pint of ale and lick my failed ambition in the most English way I know. And I want sloppy kisses while running in zigzags to the bus stop. Smell of beer mats, tears in toilets, a doner kebab or two. There is hate at work. There is uneaten pizza in my sheets. There is a serving of regret, complimentary with my fry-up. But still the pub is waving, rocking like a cradle. Single or double? I open my mouth and lie belly up on polished bar. The staff pour another in, and I walk with pins on the backs of my knees, with an amused audience, with diluted eyes and hands that ask for obligatory friendship, hiding razors in my palms. I will take the fire exit, say goodbye to no one, hoping someone will ask where I went and in reply will worry over my bare shoulders on unwatched streets. And in the morning, I will help an old lady with her shopping bags and smile at crying babies on the crowded tube until it's time to feel the tongue of booze lick my stinging wounds. Then I'll grind my teeth to dust and slow dance naked with the wind. Thank you very much. Danny's going to go home and then
All right. So this first poem I'm gonna do is called The Hitchhiker. I wanted to roam this land, following the whims of fate, by raising my finger at the side of the road, going from state to state. And whenever I would find love and life, I would linger. But now I feel the constraints of time, so I better hurry up with this rhyme. Better hurry up with my life and give up on finding a wife. My name is Dan K. Ziggert, and over here on his music machine is Mezcalito. And now we're gonna do a little short story I wrote about 3 years ago. Enjoy. Dan was lying in his new room, staring at the ventilator blades on the ceiling above him. He was in the city of angels. Outside, the sun was shining warm and bright. He had traveled thousands of miles to get here. And yet, he had spent the majority of his time here staring at the broken screen of his laptop, watching soul-crushing series and movies. He had come here to escape this monotony, but with terror Dan realized that no matter how far he would run, he could not run away from himself. So he decided to take the only way out that he knew. A few days ago, he had passed a little house on the beach with a sign above it proclaiming "The Green Doctors." One of the people in green shirts that was standing in front of it explained to him that you could get a license to smoke weed there, even if you were a foreigner. Dan turned to his laptop and typed in the word marijuana. Dozens of little red arrows appeared on the map and all over his neighborhood. Dan noticed one of them right around the corner, and when he clicked on it, it led him to a website on which it said in big flashy letters, "Come in wearing green on St. Patrick's Day and get your license for only $5. Dan jumped up from his bed, put on a green t-shirt, and got his bike out of the garage. When he turned around the corner, he could already see a big green cross across the street, beside the abbreviation ECMM, Evaluation Center for Medical Marijuana. He locked his bike in front of the building and hesitantly walked in. A young man behind the counter recognized him and immediately yelled out, "Hey man, how are you doing? Can I help you with anything?" Dan walked up to the counter and told the man that he was not a US citizen. "Oh, that's no problem. Do you have your papers with you?" Dan handed it to him and got a sheet of paper in return. He sat down to fill out the form that asked him what ailments he planned to treat with the help of cannabis. Dan wrote down depression, and after a few moments he added headaches. After filling out the rest of the form with personal information and signing his name, he returned the sheet to the counter, and after a few minutes of waiting, the young man behind it told him, "The doctor is ready for you." Dan walked through the door he pointed him to and entered a little cubicle in which an old man was sitting, staring down at the form he had just filled out. Without looking up, he said, "So you're suffering from headaches, eh? Because depression doesn't qualify you for medical marijuana." Dan mumbled back, "Yeah, my mother had migraine attacks for most of her life, and recently it seems like I'm getting them too." "Well, it can't be migraine. That usually starts when you're a teenager." Dan did not know what to reply, thinking he had messed it up. The old man still did not look up as he took his left arm to measure his blood pressure. 120? That's healthy, he said, scribbled something on the form, and then handed it back to Dan. Give this to the man at the counter, and leave the door open when you go. Dan thanked the man and got up. As he walked over to the counter, he tried to make sense of the words on the sheet in his hand. What did this mean? Had he passed? The young man noticed him, took his sheet, and congratulated him. Looks like you qualify for medical marijuana. That makes $45. Of course I qualify, Dan thought, as he paid the man. Otherwise, they wouldn't get any money out of me. This evaluation center was a slick business, and any pretense concerning medicine was merely a facade. When the man asked, "Do you also want a license?" Dan nodded and pointed at his green shirt. "It's $5, right?" The man took his picture and told him to come back tomorrow to pick up his printer's license. You can also use the form you already have to buy weed, but you shouldn't carry your license with you when you're carrying medicine. Here are some dispensaries that sell to people who are from out of state," he added, and handed Dan a few business cards. Dan thanked him and studied the cards on his way out. When he noticed that one of the dispensaries was right beside the nearby beach, he jumped on his bike and rode down the street. A strong wind was blowing into his face as he made his way through the insane traffic, and when he reached the beach, he was welcomed by a minor sandstorm. He turned around a corner, and beside a facade with a giant graffiti, he found a building with the words Nile Collective above its doors. When Dan chained his bike to the fence in its backyard, a man with a bare chest, crooked teeth, and white hair noticed him and began to sing.